Everett Jones. He is the proprietor of Laperta Productions, a media consulting firm. His small press imprint is Laperta Books and Media, which has titles in hardcover, trade paperback, ebook, audio podcast, and DVD. Gerald is a published author himself, having written more than 30 business and technical books, including How to Lie with Charts. In recent years, he published 6 novels with Laperta. His latest, Bonfire of the Vanderbilts, is about an art scandal in 1890s Paris. It's hot off the press, was a September 2015 release. The central historical story in the book is about Julius Stewart's painting, Baptism. How many people have seen that at Blackburn? I have seen it. Gerald tells me it's a storage moment, which was rumored to show a Vanderbilt family event. In his new book, Gerald proves this rumor to be true. Please welcome Gerald Everett Jones.
Thank you, Robin. So I'm very familiar with the traditional publishing cycle. I would have been involved in a traditional publishing environment with that if I were able. But I published my first novel because nobody else would. I did these 5 novels in the last 4 years, I guess it was. And this last January, having kind of blown out the pipes with the stuff that I had intended to write, I had no choice but to go to the back burner and get this novel book, whatever, that had been simmering for almost 20 years. It was 20 years ago that I saw this painting at Lockmont, and the Baptism, which is supposed to show the Vanderbilt family, but nobody knew. And I had, as a kind of an art history hobby, I had been researching it on and off. I even had stack reader privileges at the Getty for a while. I could go in and I could show them my badge, and I went down to the rare books and put on a mask, and it was kind of cool. And I wasn't really sure where that was going. Well, I'd written 2 or 3 chapters come this last January. Over a period of maybe 10 years. And I said, okay, New Year's resolution, I'm going to finish that book this year. And I'm going to give myself the whole year, no matter how long it takes. Well, I don't know, somehow I screwed up. I guess I trusted my subconscious in the writing or whatever, but the book was done in April. And it's not a small book. And I said to myself, okay, well, maybe I've got this fan base. Okay, I got a blog. I even had a radio show, and I've got a pretty good case to take to some of these agents, some of whom I knew on a first name basis from being at places like this. And I thought, she'll want my book. I'll just pick up the phone. So you're way ahead of me. So I approached the half dozen of agents that I knew by now. I was like, okay, maybe maybe I can get Random House this time, or Knopf, or whoever, Putnam. I'll step up. And I did those 6, and I got kind of impatient waiting. And I thought, I can find the email addresses of maybe 100 other agents, so I emailed all of them. Okay, I found out the ones that would take electronic samples. I went to their websites. I got their submission requirements, whatever. I did everything exactly the way they wanted to. And I had, in the end, I think I had about a dozen agents reading it. And, they all say 2 to 6 weeks. Well, I said, okay, I'll give it 8. So along about the 4th week, I'm going, is anybody ever going to want this? It's literary fiction. It's all the things that are maybe not so commercial. And then it dawned on me, and this is the point that I'm getting to, is all about not waiting. It's all about setting your own schedule. And I began to do the math, and I don't know why it took me so long. But an agent, okay, if you're going to approach them cold, 2 to 6 weeks. Let's say the agent wants it, and you got another couple of weeks redlining the contract. You got your contract with your agent now. Then your agent is going to start sending it out. That's provided that they don't want changes in the manuscript before they send it out. And fiction and nonfiction, different cycles. And you guys have been through. It's a proposal for nonfiction. It's a full manuscript for fiction. It's pretty much a hard and fast rule. Okay, it's going to take the publisher. If there's an editor, hopefully the agent has been able to prime the pump and has been able to pitch an editor acquisitions editor that they know is receptive, whatever. But 2 to 6 weeks before you can get an initial response from that publisher as to whether they might be interested. Okay, and Maggie was talking about control. All right, the other thing about traditional publishing is it's still got one foot welded to lithographic press and to limited book run. I mean, they don't run 5,000 copies necessarily of a first printing. They do what's called a market appropriate run, which is usually about 1,000, okay? But because of that, and because of the review cycles, they publish a spring catalog and a fall catalog. If you don't make the spring catalog, you're in the fall catalog. If you've got an academic book and you want to be in the fall catalog, actually you need to be in the spring catalog because they're making up their minds for fall. Basically, once I did the math, I realized it was going to be 2 years before this was in print, even if I got lucky. So I made the decision in June to publish it. Here it is. It's already been out to 60 reviewers. It had to, because I had that many scholars, institutes, universities, foundations, whatever. I mean, I had a lot of people who had contributed the facts that went into this fiction. And I wanted them all to be able to weigh in. I wanted them all to be able to hold it in their hands and say, well, no, Gerald, I don't think you really got this right. And, in the review copies we'll give away, these are collectible, by the way. They have an errata sheet in front. I had Napoleon winning the Battle of Trocadero 2 years after he was dead. I had the painter Julius Stewart raving about how good Matisse was and how he envied the Impressionists, which was a little bit false. But then after some checking, it turns out Matisse was a boy when Julius Stewart was alive, so that was actually kind of impossible. So, but I had that review process during the months of July and August, and then we were actually able to hit the paperback deadline of our birthday and the painter's birthday, September the 6th. So, control. Absolutely. And not waiting for anybody. I mean, yeah, I waited for the reviewers, but I mean, if they didn't get back to me with their comments, then, the ship sailed. I'm sorry, let's move on. But I got a lot of good feedback. Some of the people that I thought would be really cooperative and really plugged in and really enthusiastic weren't. You want me to read a book? 450 pages? I've got a tour and I've got classes and I've got a syllabus to prepare, all that kind of stuff. So yes, absolutely control and timing. And a little bit later we might talk also about things like street date and promotion and those kinds of timing things. Those are all extremely important considerations, especially if you're going to still do paper. I think there's still a role for paper. I think you've got to kind of do both for a while yet. I know that some of Carolyn's colleagues and mine in the self-publishing world are really advocating Kindle only, and I don't want to argue too strongly against that, but I have a feeling that if you want to put your stake in the ground, you really had better be on all the platforms.